Got it. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Done. And let's get the sound off. And we're gonna edit. And when we're through, you will know who edited it, for you edited it, you edited it, you edited it. Mr. Rogers has no edge on me when it comes to enunciation. You edited it. Fun fact about Mr. Rogers, he changed the lyrics at the end of his session with the kiddos because originally it was tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. But then I think he either got feedback or he suddenly was alerted to the idea that, what if a child thinks that the show is tomorrow, but is watching this on a Friday? We won't be back tomorrow if it's on a Friday. That little child is going to be very, very sad. So he changed it to, it's a good feeling, a very good feeling, that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you. And so a new song was born. Hey, everybody. All y'all who are watching. The raffle is going to close in T-minus 6 minutes. And well, I like our show. Wait a second. Wait. Try YouTube Kids. Uh-oh. Hang on. No, it's not made for kids. Okay, let's make sure. I accidentally said it was for kids. It's for the young at heart, but last thing we need is getting in trouble for public. No, it's not made for kids. All right, good. All right, I think we're there. 5 more minutes, everybody. 5 more minutes. Just make sure people who are looking at the Facebook feed are informed. Okay, good. Okay. Let's have a chat, you wonderful watchers. Just a little bit about our shoe. So this is this evening's offering, The Pulp Writer's Nightmare. And it's a series of pulp plays. Now, what is a pulp play, according to this company? Let's answer this, Matt, with a rhetorical question. A pulp play is, well, it's a play, isn't it? And the genre is pulp. Now, that may warrant a little more specificity. The way we define pulp around these here parts is it's a story founded on raw entertainment values and written within the genres of popular stuff, science fiction, fantasy, or suspense branching off into subgenres like horror, mystery, adventure, etc. And in the last 2 years, we have enjoyed realizing the long-held dream of ours. Pulp writer's room dedicated to writing stories in the pulp genre, stories focused on simple, entertaining plots and characters, but not simple-minded. That's an important distinction. If that wasn't enough for us, it wasn't. All stories follow one simple rule. The play can't rely on visuals. We can only use dialogue and or narration. All the action takes place in the words. For tonight's show, we offer an experiment. Imagine, if you will, 3 pulp stage writers. Facing them are 3 titans of literature: Robert Louis Stevenson, Mary Shelley, and Homer. How can they take classic stories by these classic and very, very dead and very, very public domain authors and modernize them as the pilot of a new show? How indeed. To answer this second rhetorical question, behind the following show, written by William Thomas Berk, Jeff Soesbed, and Greg Lamb, you will find out soon. But first, let's check and make sure that our audience is seated nice and comfy. Okay. Okay, we're going to wait just a little bit. After all, this is Portland theater time, so there's that. Oh, let me also make sure that I'm crediting. This is very, very important. I'm crediting our patrons. These are part of the Patreon program. So the patrons now include Patrick Brennan, Benjamin Phillip, John Worsley, Samantha Marchant, Susan Brookfield, Zach Michelle, Tyrese Niswander, Bennett Battle, Christy Quinn, Liz Argel, Christopher Janowski, Sharon Norman, Ann Berk, Deborah Katz, Erica Rupinian, Brad Bolchunos, Allison Anderson, Ken Gangler, Benjamina B., Jeff Kenley, Jane Soka, Kevin Cook, Scott Stevens, Uncle Josh, and Trenton Bennett. Now, the thing about Trenton Bennett that you all might not know is that he is a narration colleague of mine. And if you donate to our, I was going to say to our raffle, which actually now is closed. But if you donate to the Pulp Stage at our Indiegogo site, you will discover that there are a couple of perks for your mostly tax-deductible dollars, should you choose a perk. There are multiple perks, and one of them is, or 3 of them actually, involve listening to books that I've narrated. It's a lot of fun. I'm pretty good at it. And the books are being sponsored by our wonderful folks who have written 2 of the 3. No, I've written all of them. We have Z, who I'd like to thank, and we have Otke, who's how he likes to go by, but the wonderful author of the resuscitation. Sorry, everybody. I'm just so discombobulated about the upcoming show. But in any case, yes, Garrett Overeem. Yes, Garrett Overeem. Anyway, they have sponsored these books, Z. Irwin and Garrett Overeem. And we are so lucky to have those, which are available for sale, but have them donated for somebody who would like to listen. We've got romance genres there, and we've got science fiction. All right, let's check out Make sure everybody's seated. Okay, great. All right. Oh, hello, Anne. Good to see you. All right, now 8:05 is going to be the drop dead time for show to begin. Let's talk a little bit about the Pulp Stage Company. Or actually, you know what? I've said enough about the Pulp Stage Company for now. Let's go to our acknowledgement. Now, in response to a call of need from theater artists of marginalized populations, the Pulp Stage Board offers an acknowledgement, a pledge, and a request. The acknowledgement is that we on the board of the Pulp Stage operate within the system of the United States, and this is a symptom. It is a symptom, but it's also a system that was originally generated in order to thrive off, in part, the oppression, exploitation, and even death of any person or population that was not what I call Matlandia. White, heterosexual, cis male, and anyone who was not raised, as Matlandia was raised, with significant financial, functional, and educational advantages. Now, here's our pledge. We cannot undo past wrongs, but we will move forward. We're working to honor entertainers with voices outside the previously dominant ones. Pulp Stage is actively revising its systems of operation, and we're networking in order to create a container that is more welcoming and more empowering. And if you'd like more specifics, I'm happy to share. Please see my email, which is in the show description. The request is that substantial change is unlikely to go into action until there's equal or greater representation at the executive levels of the Pulp Stage, significantly our board. If you appreciate our style of storytelling and you align yourself with a marginalized population, please drop me an email so we can see what opportunities there might be to work together. And referrals are vital as well. Okay, now everybody, welcome to this evening's offering. We shall have works by Greg Lamb, William Thomas Berk, and Jeff Soesbed in reverse order. William Thomas Berk, Jeff Soesbed, Greg Lamb. That wasn't even reverse, but everybody, please enjoy tonight's show, and thank you.
Our first story tonight is Desert Island Book Club by William Thomas Berk.
Okay, are we all done eating?
Not much of a dinner between the four of us on this island.
Does the fire look a little small? We should get some more firewood on there.
Don't waste the firewood, it's big enough.
Big enough to see from miles out?
Only if there's a ship out there to see it.
Okay, hey everyone, I know we're all on edge. It's been a rough few days adjusting to life on the island.
At least we survived the crash.
Jury's still out on that.
Like I said, we're on edge, so I thought we might try something new.
Like what?
Like a book club.
We don't have any books here. They all went down with the ship.
Well, we can still talk about them. Hey, Peyton, do you want to start us off with a game?
Sure. Why not?
If you were stuck on a desert island...
Is that some kind of sick joke, Sam?
Okay, sorry, Morgan, bad choice of words. Anyway, now that you're here, what's the one book you wish you had right now?
I don't know. Jekyll and Hyde?
Okay.
Classic.
Why that one?
Like Kelly said, it's a classic. I mean, sure, everyone knows the twist ending nowadays, but if you pretend you're reading it back when it first came out, like, you've got no idea what's coming. That book is really freaking terrifying.
Why don't you walk us through it? What happens in the book?
Well, to start with, Jekyll isn't the main character.
He isn't?
Nah, it's Jekyll's lawyer. Utterson, I think his name is. Guy's a nobody.
But does Utterson know about the Jekyll and Hyde transformation thing?
No, he's got nothing to do with any
So
of that.
then why is he the main character?
Well, like, when the book starts, Utterson tells this whole story about how when Hyde beat up some kid who just happened to cross his path, kid wasn't even doing anything, just came up to Hyde and he beat the crap out of her.
Okay, Hyde's the bad guy. Okay.
But enough people saw the whole thing, and Hyde was in real danger of getting thrashed himself.
So he beat up all the others?
No, he paid them all off, wrote them a check with Jekyll's money.
So hang on a minute. Hyde paid for a kid's medical expenses or whatever with another guy's check, and nobody put it together they're the same person?
No, Utterson just thought it was weird. Even weirder, Jekyll sent him an updated will, leaving everything to Hyde.
The same guy who beat up that kid.
Well, Utterson didn't know about that at the time. That came later. It's a prologue, kind of. Never mind.
So Jekyll left everything to Hyde?
Yeah, a total stranger. Utterson went to ask Jekyll about it, and he just said, "Don't worry about it."
No other explanation.
Nothing.
So hold on. Jekyll's acting all weird and nobody puts it together. They're the same guy?
No, people suspect something, but they can't really do anything.
That's stupid.
It makes a lot more sense because we know the twist ending. We know that Jekyll and Hyde are the same person, and we know about the transformation.
Sure we do.
But Utterson? Anyone reading the book when it first came out, they'd have no idea. To them, it's all impossible. So now we've got that mystery, that suspense, you know?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So what went wrong?
Well, Hyde went and killed this guy, Carew, some big shot rich guy or something. Hyde beat Carew to death and left behind half the murder weapon.
Okay, so the cops are on his tail.
Oh, it gets better. Utterson gets called in to identify the victim, and he recognizes the murder weapon as a cane he gave to Jekyll.
Okay, so now everyone pieces it together that Jekyll and Hyde are the same person.
Nope.
What?
No, they stake out a hotel room that Hyde had been renting, but nobody ever shows up.
So what was the point of all that?
Well, Jekyll starts secluding himself a lot more. Also, Jekyll shows Utterson a note from Hyde apologizing for everything Hyde did, but Jekyll and Hyde's handwriting looks a lot alike.
So Jekyll and Hyde are becoming so separate that now they're writing letters to each other.
Well, Utterson thinks that Hyde is blackmailing Jekyll, and Jekyll's trying to throw Utterson off the scent.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Sounds like a stretch to me.
So a little while later, Jekyll goes back to being his old self, only now he's giving a lot more to charity and stuff.
The good side of the whole, like, good and evil thing.
That's right. We don't know it yet, but Jekyll is trying to repent for all the violent stuff he did as Hyde.
So then Hyde is, like, the ugly and evil one.
Well, not exactly.
How do you mean?
The thing is, if you actually read the book, nobody ever really describes what Hyde looks like.
Oh, so how do they describe him?
They really don't. It's more like, you know, when something's just a little bit off in a way you can't really put your finger on, or when someone has this creepy and disgusting kind of aura about them in a way you can't quite put into words.
Who hasn't?
Well, that's how they describe Hyde. It's not really a physical thing. It's more of an emotional thing.
So anyway, Jekyll is out and about, but I am guessing something goes wrong?
Yeah, but nobody knows about it at first. Jekyll just kind of starts holding up again.
And what's Hyde doing?
Nothing. They've both disappeared.
Does anything happen in this book?
Well, Jekyll falls out with his buddy Lanyon, but neither one of them will tell why. Then Lanyon got sick and died a few days later.
What happened there?
We finally get to know everything when Jekyll's butler comes storming in. I guess he got worried that Jekyll was too far gone, so he came calling for Utterson to break into Jekyll's lab.
Finally, some action.
They break down the door and they find Hyde's dead body. He'd poisoned himself.
Oh, come on!
They never find out what happens?
They do. The last 2 chapters are full of confessions from Jekyll and Lanyon. They were both left to Utterson.
What did Lanyon have to confess to?
Well, he didn't really confess. More like he wrote down an explanation and he didn't want anyone to read it until after he and Jekyll were both dead.
Oh, well, of course.
Long story short, Jekyll lost control of the transformation and he turned back into Hyde unexpectedly. But he couldn't get back into Jekyll's lab while looking like Hyde.
So then where does Lanyon come into it?
Hyde wrote to Lanyon, asking him to get the materials for Hyde to make the potion that turned him back into Jekyll.
Finally, we get to the big reveal.
Yeah, but when Hyde turned into Jekyll and Lanyon saw the transformation, he lost his mind.
And that's what killed him?
Yeah.
So stupid.
Anyway, we finally get to the potion.
Oh, yeah. Jekyll was obsessed with figuring out how to isolate mankind's inherent evil and drive it out.
But that didn't happen.
He could only be one at a time.
It's more than that. It's like, it's not just that Hyde was evil and Jekyll was good. It's that the potion transformed himself into someone else entirely.
Yeah.
Put it this way, anything Jekyll did, Hyde would get the blame for it. Imagine what it would be like if you could do anything you wanted with no consequences.
So that's why Jekyll went and killed those people.
I assume he also drank, did drugs, hired prostitutes.
Exactly. All that stuff.
If Hyde's life of sin was so great, then why did he poison himself?
Like I told you, Jekyll was losing control of the transformation. It's why he shut himself off from everyone for months at a time. He was trying to find some way of containing Hyde.
I thought he had the potion.
He kept running low on one ingredient. Apparently, there was this one particular batch of this one particular salt that had one particular flaw that made the whole thing work somehow.
So he finally ran out.
And he had to kill himself.
Exactly. He got addicted to the potion.
The addictive nature of evil.
Sure, I guess.
Well, that was fun. How exactly is this supposed to help us?
You know, that is a good question. What always stuck out about the story to me is that he couldn't get rid of Hyde without getting rid of Jekyll. You have to take the good and the bad together. Like, hey, we're stuck here alone and stranded on a desert island, but we can still have some good times, right?
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
It's the consequences bit that always stuck with me. The thought of what people would do if they could hide from any consequence.
Okay, so secrets.
What?
Jekyll was really undone by his own secrets, yeah?
Sure, I guess so.
I'm just saying it's a small island. Secrets will only breed resentment. So we should all be open and honest and keep on the same page while we're here.
That makes sense.
I'd say it's all about staying observant. If those idiots had paid more attention, they could have pieced it all together a lot sooner.
And if they'd been more open about sharing what they knew?
Yeah, definitely.
Also, it would have helped if Jekyll hadn't gotten addicted to that potion in the first place.
Too much of a good thing, yeah.
Like maybe if he'd been smarter about making those ingredients last longer.
Pretty sure Jekyll did the best he could. But your point stands.
So, are we good here?
Yeah, it's getting dark. Peyton, you take first watch.
Story.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll take first watch. Whoever has a story next week, they get a full night's sleep.
Fine. We'll do this again next week.
Thanks for sharing, Peyton.
Yeah, that was fun.
We can pick it up next week. Until then, we stay sharp.
The end. Next, 10-Minute Odyssey by Jeff Soesbed.
10 years after the end of the Trojan War, Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, has not returned home. Penelope, his faithful wife, and Telemachus, his son, pine for his return.
Mom, will I ever see Dad again?
I hope that he's still alive, my son.
Dad is out there, somewhere. I can feel it in my heart.
I dream for his return. Then he can make these suitors for my affection leave our palace courtyard.
The suitors are partying all day, eating our cattle and drinking our wine.
They are boorish and improper guests, but we have to be proper hosts.
I'm going to search for Dad, even if no one else will help me.
The suitors aren't going to like that.
The suitors can kiss my butt.
Across the wine-dark sea, on a remote island controlled by the goddess Calypso, Odysseus makes a fateful announcement.
Calypso, it's time for me to leave your island.
Odysseus, 7 years ago I rescued you from the sea and made you stay with me. Why leave now?
I want to have a family meal with my wife and son.
You last saw your wife almost 20 years ago. How can you still care for her?
Every day my heart aches for Penelope's embrace.
Your son was a small babe when you left. How can you still think of him?
Soon he will become a man. I want to be there for him.
Odysseus, I will let you go and help you if I can.
Thank you for my freedom.
Poseidon, Lord of the Sea, will forever try to stop you from returning home.
Poseidon can kiss my butt.
Atop mighty Mount Olympus, Poseidon and Athena argue over the fate of Odysseus.
Poseidon, let Odysseus travel the seas and return home.
I hate that guy, Athena. His plan defeated Troy in the war.
It was 10 years ago. It's time to move on.
He stuck a flaming spear into the eye of my son, the Cyclops Polyphemus.
You have a lot of kids. You've never really cared about any of them.
Well, I care now.
Odysseus wants to hold his wife and see his son before he becomes a man.
If Odysseus leaves that island, I'll crash him on another island, and if his son goes looking, I'll stop him too.
Zeus is the king of gods, but you are the king of grudge holders. Just let it go.
You can't tell me what to do. Leave me alone.
I'll go to Telemachus in disguise and help him search for his father. We'll distract Poseidon, which will help Odysseus.
Odysseus takes to the sea on a raft, but Poseidon eventually finds out and crashes Odysseus on the island of the Phaeacians. Odysseus is taken to Alcinous, their king.
What a poor, pathetic stranger you are. Sit down and fill your belly with some food and drink.
Alcinous, I'm Odysseus, remember me?
Hey, everybody look, it's Odysseus. We thought you were a dead man. Where have you been the last 10 years?
I have had a strange and difficult journey.
Tell us the story, then I'll give you a ship and crew so you can get home.
You are a kind and generous king.
But while you talk, I'm gonna heckle you because I'm like that. Hey!
After the Trojan War, we landed on the island of the Lotus Eaters. They intoxicated my men, and I had to drag them back to the ship.
You didn't teach your crew. Don't take lotuses from strangers.
We were captured by the Cyclops Polyphemus. He ate some crewmen, so I put a burning spear in his eye, and we escaped.
A man who gets to the point. No wonder Poseidon hates you so much. He holds grudges forever.
We landed on the island of Circe the Witch. She turned my men into pigs.
I hope that your men got better. We know that they were delicious. Yo!
We sailed by the sirens. They tried to entice me to crash my ship on the rocks.
Lovely lady singing me to my doom. I've been there. Got a lot of ex-girlfriends to show for it.
We encountered the monsters of Scylla and Charybdis. They ate many of my crew.
I bet they still smelled like delicious pigs. You should have made them bathe.
We landed on Thrinacia, an island of the gods. My crew ate sacred cattle, so Zeus wrecked my ship and killed them all.
I'm realizing I should not give you a ship and crew.
I ended up on Calypso's island. I was there the last 7 years.
I'm thinking you didn't really want to leave.
I just want to get home. I want to hold my wife and see my son and have a family dinner.
I love family dinner too. Odysseus, drink, eat, sleep. Maybe the gods will help you.
Thank you, Alcinous. I'm going to get drunk and pass out.
The minute that guy's asleep, I'm loading him on a boat and dumping him on Ithaca. He is bad luck.
Odysseus is left on Ithaca by the Phaeacians, where he is found by a country swineherd, a servant of his kingdom.
You poor beggar. Why don't you have some victuals with me and stay in my bunkhouse?
How very kind, swineherd. You are generous towards a poor beggar like me.
I reckon my long-lost king, Odysseus, would have done the same for any stranger.
So you do not have a new king?
Oh, faithful Queen Penelope has not replaced him. Odysseus was a good and virtuous king. We folks of Ithaca miss him a whole bunch.
If Odysseus heard your words, I'm certain they would touch his heart.
Oh, looky here. Here comes Odysseus' son, the handsome and virtuous Telemachus. He's almost a man's age now.
I've traveled the wide seas looking for my father, but I've had no luck. My heart is overtaken with grief.
Young Telemachus, I knew your father. You are an upstanding young man, and the very image of him. He would be proud of you.
You are kind to say so, poor beggar. I'm hungry and thirsty, but I want to make sure you have food and drink first.
I can't bear this. Telemachus, it's me, your father, Odysseus.
I want to believe you, stranger, but how can I know you're telling me the truth?
Why, look at that. Odysseus' old doggy Argos barks and wags his tail and licks the poor beggar's face.
Dad, it is you!
You are now a marvelous young man, my son. My heart bursts with joy. I hear there's some suitors that need to be taken care of.
We need to hand out some old-fashioned Ithacan justice.
We will take them by surprise. At the palace, keep pretending I'm a poor beggar.
In the palace courtyard, faithful Penelope joyously greets her son and his strange new companion.
Telemachus, my son, I heard the doorbell and saw you on the camera obscura. I'm so happy you've returned.
Mom, I met this poor beggar who was washed up on our beach.
Oh, poor beggar, come inside. We will feed you and have your feet and face washed.
You are a kind woman, faithful Queen Penelope. Your husband is a lucky man.
I haven't seen my husband in 20 years. My heart breaks with yearning for his return.
Hold on to that thought.
But today is a difficult day. I have been forced into deciding which of the suitors I will marry.
Mom, why?
It wasn't my choice, but I have created a competition involving your father's old bow.
That bow is a mighty one that only one man can use properly.
Suitors, whoever can string this bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads will be my husband.
I, a poor beggar, will go first.
Oh, the suitors are laughing at you, Dad.
We'll see who laughs last.
The poor beggar has done it.
That's because I am Odysseus, the king of Ithaca.
It's suitor slaughtering time.
The red blood of the suitors flows freely in the palace courtyard as Odysseus and Telemachus make every suitor pay for their rude and boorish behavior.
Poor beggar, you have strung the bow, shot the arrow, and wreaked havoc on the suitors, but I'm still not sure you're Odysseus.
All I want is to have a family meal with my wife and son and sleep in my bed again.
I'll have the bed moved to outside the bedchamber for you.
I made our bed in the trunk of a massive olive tree. It can't be moved. Did something happen to it?
That was a test. Now I know that you really are my husband. Odysseus, you've returned.
My wife, I have missed you so.
We are so getting busy in that bed tonight.
This is really embarrassing. Can we have family dinner now?
Let's roast a fat pig and I'll tell you of my adventures.
And then we can go to bed.
Mom, jeez.
Okay, let's have a family dinner.
One more thing. Hey, Poseidon, kiss my butt.
Poseidon, don't you love a happy ending to a story? I sure do.
Well, Athena, I don't.
Too bad for you.
This isn't fair. Leave me alone.
Odysseus never ventured onto the wine-dark seas again. He spent the rest of his days in happiness with his wife and his son in the kingdom of Ithaca. And so ends the 10-minute Odyssey. The end.
Our final story tonight is It Came from the Public Domain by Greg Lamb.
What? Where Where am I? One moment I'm sleeping in my bed, the next what is this place? Hello?
Greetings, human!
Oh my god! What are you?
I am Walrog the Conqueror! I come from a faraway galaxy to study your home world. Please excuse my voice. The universal translator has its limits.
You've come to our world for friendly first contact and peaceful cooperation?
Raffle, no! For conquest and annihilation, of course!
Really?
Of course! We only need to do a few more physical examinations of specimens before our invasion can begin. I apologize in advance for the intense pain. Let's begin.
Oh no! One of our many apocalyptic tropes and stories are coming true! Alien invaders! I always thought it was gonna be zombies.
Puny human, did you say stories?
Mhm.
Our scanners pick up the signals you vomit out into the universe. Your television, your movies, your radio plays. The better to monitor your laughable defensive capabilities, but these stories, they befuddle and baffle us. The confusion, it makes us want to destroy you even more. Explain one to us.
I can, certainly, but can you promise something for me?
Even through the universal translator, I don't like the tone of your voice, human. What is your demand?
I would like for my planet not to be invaded by an alien race with superior technology. So, if I were to tell you and explain to you entertaining stories from our planet, could you find it in your heart to spare our planet?
It would have to be a very entertaining story, because everyone here likes a good invasion.
I promise.
And Wolverog demands to know all of your best stories. How many stories do you know, human?
I know a lot of them. I'm a professor of classic literature at Wells Community College. My name's Penny Henman.
Very well, Professor Puny Human.
That's not...
Enough chit-chat. Wolverog demands classic literature.
Now?
We can do the physical examination instead if you like.
No, now is good. That's fine. How about the story of Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus, written by Mary Shelley in 1818, a harrowing adventure story about a man of science and the consequences of his scientific obsessions. It's perhaps the very first science fiction...
Dramaturgy. We've seen some of this Frankenstein story on TV, but we wish to know more. Tell the story.
Right. You're the boss.
I am Walrog.
The story starts with a sea captain writing letters to his sister.
This is the Frankenstein? I thought Frankenstein was a big green monster.
No, the monster is actually... Let me start at the beginning, please. Which is a sea captain named Walton exploring the Arctic.
Why the fleb are we starting with him?
Captain Walton finds a man abandoned on an iceberg, close to death, shipwrecked, and brings him onto his ship.
Man, this is Frankenstein.
Yes.
Finally.
And the two guys meet and bond. It's kind of a bromance.
Walrog was promised adventure, not bromance.
Okay. Frankenstein tells his story about being a hotshot student who learns everything and who decides to do a secret extra credit project where he takes body parts from corpses and reanimates them into a new being with the spark of creation.
You Earthlings have this reanimation technology?
No, that's why this is science fiction.
Oh, thank goodness. We would have had to call off the invasion. Return to story.
Right. After some time, Frankenstein gives his creation the spark of creation, and the creature stirs and looks at his creator.
And they fight.
No, Frankenstein kind of hides in his room until the creature goes away.
That is less than heroic.
Well, then Frankenstein returns home, but stuff starts happening around him. His little brother is murdered, and his adopted sister Justine is blamed for the murder, but Frankenstein knows that it's the creature that did it and not Justine.
And he says this.
No, he kind of shuts up about it and Justine is hanged. Then he goes off to find the creature. There's a terrific sled dog chase.
There's a sled dog chase in Frankenstein with a blurg.
Right. It seems odd now that you mention it, but there's a confrontation in the snow. The creature is strong and easily rebuffs Frankenstein's attack. At this point, the creature tells his story. Left alone after his creation to his own devices, the creature goes off to a bewildering world. He meets a little girl and saves her from death, but because of how he looks, the creature is shunned by the girl's father.
Poor misunderstood beastling.
You empathize with him, right? Well, then he eavesdrops on a family as the parents teach their kids language and about the world, and so he learns while spying on them. Eventually, he approaches the blind father of the family alone and tries to see if they can be friends.
And are they friends?
No, the blind man's family comes and sees him and they are horrified and chase him away.
Humans and humanity to humans is appalling.
I know, but you see now the creature seeks out Frankenstein and tells the doctor that he wants him to create a bride for him, just like the doctor created the creature. The creature says he'll marry the bride and he promises that they will go away to Brazil and never bother anyone again.
Brazil.
Yes.
They just, what, book a flight in first class?
Well, do you have the concept of suspension of disbelief?
Bah, proceed.
But if he refuses, the creature will take his revenge on him. So Frankenstein goes back to the lab and he makes the creature's bride. And he's about to give her the spark of life, because apparently this part is easy for him. But he starts to have second thoughts. What if this she creature doesn't agree to the promise? What if she hates the creature? And what if she hates him, Dr. Frankenstein? Now we'd have created two angry monsters.
Monster is a strong word for a misunderstood innocent being.
So Frankenstein destroys the bride's body and leaves its corpse in the abandoned lab.
He's not getting that security deposit back.
And Frankenstein goes home to marry his stepsister.
Say what now?
It's like, just roll with it. Frankenstein hasn't told his newlywed wife Elizabeth anything about the creature. He says he'll tell her after they get married, and so they get married.
The Walrog loves a wedding!
But on the wedding night, while he's in another room, the creature goes to the bedroom and murders Elizabeth!
This is getting good!
The creature runs away all the way into the Arctic. Frankenstein follows him. Eventually his dog sled catches up to the creature.
Gotta be honest with you, there is a lot more dog sledding than Walrog was expecting.
They fight, and Frankenstein is disabled, and the creature runs away again, leaving Frankenstein to his death, until the ship captain finds him. And we loop back to the scene at the beginning where the captain rescues Frankenstein.
I completely forgot about Captain Bromance. How many flimsy framing devices does this story have?
And there's stuff about a ship's mutiny and whether they should keep going because the ship is encased in ice, and Frankenstein makes a motivational speech and they go on! And Frankenstein dies!
Hey, what?
Frankenstein dies!
What is the point of the story, then?
The creature returns to the ship to see Frankenstein's body. Now, the only person who could give him a mate has died. He sees the captain. He is despondent, the creature, that is, to have lost the only one who could forgive him. And the creature leaps off into the Arctic night, leaving the captain to ponder what it all means. The end.
That's it.
Yes, that's everything, I think. Oh, I forgot if there's another murder in the middle, some serial adopting of orphan girls and Victor moping around a bit and getting sick, but that's essentially it.
Well, I suppose it's a cautionary tale about how the thirst for discovery without a moral compass inevitably leads to unforeseen calamity.
Well, yes, that's very
What was
good.
with all the flipping dog sledding?
Are you still planning to invade Earth? Wasn't that classic tale from the public domain worth sparing our civilization?
Well, I suppose the invasion can wait. It was a pretty good story by that Mary Shelley female. I will return you to your home, puny human. But I will call upon you once again in the future, and you shall tell me another story.
Oh, but I don't want.
Goodbye, puny human. Activate teleporter.
Oh, what is this weird light?
Teleport away.
Where am I going?
Marrying his stepsister. Humans.
And so ends tonight's result of this month's Nightmare. Cast, come out, and director, yes. Tonight's show was directed by John Marks and starred him, Madeleine Delaplane, Racheal Erkickson, and Katie Mortemore, sorry. And it was written by William Thomas Berk, Jet Soesbed, and Greg Lamb. Tune in on December 8th for the season finale of That Damned Hotel. And now, the raffle drawing. Everybody drum on your knees. All right. Now, just in full transparency here, the raffle draw is for people who donated. If they donated multiple times, then the raffle counts as more tickets if they initially selected the raffle. Okay, here we go. And the winner of a luxury weekend place to stay in the gorge goes to this is not favoritism. Racheal Joy Erkickson. All righty. Yep. Nope. Yep. All right. Very cool. And to close, when a great movie or television series is created, the world has a treasure. But when we create moments of live delight, the world has hope. Now, as much as ever, the world needs hope. So for everybody, you included, audience, for everybody showing up tonight, live and playing, let's give yourselves and each other a round of applause. Good night, everybody.